Hi, welcome to the Miniature Showcase. So today we're going to have a look at something a bit different. Today we're looking at these guys. These are some generic plastic cowboy models. Now here's the thing, if you have been in the hobby for quite a while, you'll know this to be true. Toy stores are the guilty pleasure of the tabletop gamer. Now why do I say that? Because I think it's a great place for you to find cheap figures. It's a great place for you to find, plastic terrain. It's a great place for you to find bits that you can like add on or convert your existing figures. So it's like a great resource for the tabletop gamer. So back in the day, me and Mark used to like hit the toy stores I think twice a week. We'd go from one toy store to another. And of course, this is a time when there was no online stores. So if you wanted to buy a toy, you have to actually go to the toy store. So we came across this bag of cowboys, plastic cowboys. Now here's the thing though. I think a few weeks before or a few months before, we had gotten a hold of a rule set that was inserted inside as an article in one of the hobby magazines. I can't remember which one, and this was the rules with no name. So here we had the rule set, and then in our hands was this plastic bag of plastic cowboys. So I looked at Mark looked at me, and it was cheap, man. It was I think it was $1, 5 ringgit, 4 ringgit, something like that. And yeah, we brought it back home, and well, I guess we painted the figures. So what the video you're gonna see right now is basically those figures. But here's the thing: when I was growing up, books like this, I think this book over here, the Western genre was actually quite popular when I was growing up. So I'm not so sure how this will stick with the newer gamers, but for the older gamer, yeah, the Western is always fantastic. In fact, the Clint Eastwood shows, the old Western, spaghetti Westerns, yeah, that help fuel the excitement for getting the cowboys in, and gaming with them. So I did a bit of research and found out that the pack of cowboys that we got are pretty much the same figures all over the world. So these figures, right, may look familiar to you. I mean, have a look at this random image search. These are the same looking models with the models you're gonna see later in the video. With more miniature agnostic rules coming out, these plastic figures are now, well, they're demanding to be played with. So while we're on the subject of gaming, here are some rule sets I managed to find for you to try if you ever want to, paint some plastic generic cowboy models. The first rule set is from Games Workshop, and this is from the historical line of rule books. I'm not so sure if you can get this rule book anymore, but if you're really interested, I'm sure somebody has it somewhere, and it's for sale somewhere in the secondary market. Next up is Dead Man's Hand. Now at the moment in the store, Dead Man's Hand is one of the more popular rule sets that's being used to play Westerns. The rule set is made by Great Escape Games. North Star Military Figures have some figures made specifically for this rule set. Oh, the link is in the description. Next up is the rules with no name. Yeah, well, for me, this rule set was the one I used when I first played a Western game. So there is some nostalgic, good vibes that comes with it. This rule set is now part of the Foundry Miniatures line, and this means that there are minis made specifically for the rule set. While researching the different Western rule sets, I also found this gem from 1978. Now, I personally have not heard of this game, in fact, at all, so much less played it. So I'm basically leaving this here for my reference as well. Now these figures are about 54, maybe 50 mm, and honestly it's big enough to make it a little bit easier to paint. So these figures were painted with citadel paints, as they were the only ones, well, we could buy in Malaysia at the time. We also used some craft paints and some dyes for some added effect. The figures were sealed with a hobby sealant, maybe a Tamiya sealant, and as you can see, almost 30 years later, they still look fantastic. The basing for these figures were done recently for this video, because the old bases were made out of cardboard and you know, the flock that Mark made. And I think these round-lipped bases kind of look really good. Anyways, back to the figures. The bag of figures came with many duplicate models, so we needed to get inventive, making them all look a bit different. Honestly, I think they all look unique, even if the poses are the same. But let me show you what happens with a little bit of effort. This figure in particular was painted with a white shirt and could easily be your marshal or your sheriff or your general white hat figure. And I think when they sculpted it, this was pretty much the intent. But actually, if you take the time, take a little patience and model a duster coat, suddenly the whole tone of the figure changes immensely. The duster jacket was modeled from just paper, but given a coat of PVA and then paint to give the jacket some body and some form. And my goodness, man, this figure looks really good, if I do say so myself. And you'll never guess that it came from the same cheap bag of plastic figures. So I hope you enjoyed the video and will help the channel grow by a like, a subscribe, or a comment. In fact, why not just share the video on your hobby page? So I'll see you in the next one, stranger. And don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.